In a small village surrounded by rolling hills and lush fields, there lived a hard-working farmer named Kishore. Kishore toiled day and night in his fields, his hands rough and calloused from years of labor. Despite his tireless efforts, his crops often failed due to unpredictable weather. The sun could scorch his plants, or the rains could flood his fields, leaving him with nothing to show for his hard work. Frustrated and disheartened, Kishore felt a growing sense of despair. He worried about how he could provide for his family and what his future held. One day, news spread through the village that the enlightened Buddha was visiting and teaching under a large banyan tree at the edge of the village. Hoping to find some solace and guidance, Kishore decided to seek Buddha's wisdom. He set out early in the morning, walking with a heavy heart, but with a glimmer of hope. When he arrived, he found Buddha surrounded by a group of villagers, all listening intently to his teachings. Buddha's presence was calm and serene, a stark contrast to the turmoil in Kishore's heart. After some time, the crowd dispersed, leaving Kishore with a moment to approach the wise teacher. Kishore bowed deeply and said, "Great teacher, I work tirelessly, yet my efforts seem futile. My crops fail, and I cannot provide for my family. How can I find peace amidst such uncertainty?" Buddha looked at Kishore with deep compassion and understanding. "Let me tell you a story," he began. "There once was a farmer, much like yourself, who faced many hardships. One year, his crops were bountiful, and he rejoiced. The next year, a storm destroyed his fields, and he despaired. He rode the waves of joy and sorrow, never finding true peace." Buddha paused, allowing Kishore to absorb his words. Kishore's face reflected his struggle to understand the deeper meaning. This farmer learned that life is like the seasons, constantly changing and beyond our control. To find peace, he needed to embrace impermanence and accept that both good and bad times are transient. Kishore listened intently, a glimmer of understanding beginning to form in his mind. "But how can I accept the bad times without losing hope?" he asked, his voice tinged with desperation. Buddha smiled gently, his eyes full of wisdom. "By cultivating patience and understanding. Just as you prepare the soil and plant seeds, trusting they will grow, you must also trust the natural ebb and flow of life. Embrace each moment, knowing it is part of a greater cycle." Kishore nodded slowly, feeling the weight of his worries begin to lift slightly. "I understand, wise one. I will strive to accept the changes and remain patient." Buddha continued, "Remember, Kishore, that impermanence is not a cause for despair, but a reminder to cherish each moment. By accepting the transient nature of life, you can find joy in the present and resilience in times of hardship." Inspired by Buddha's words, Kishore returned to his fields with a renewed sense of purpose. He worked diligently, but this time he did so with patience and acceptance. He found joy in the act of farming itself, the feel of the earth in his hands, the warmth of the sun on his face, the sound of birds singing in the trees. He no longer saw his work as a means to an end, but as a series of moments to be cherished. As the seasons passed, Kishore's fields experienced both bounty and hardship. Some years brought abundant harvests, while others were marked by drought or floods. But through it all, Kishore remained peaceful and content. He had learned that true peace came not from controlling the uncontrollable, but from embracing the ever-changing dance of life. One particularly harsh year, a severe storm swept through the village, destroying crops and causing widespread damage. Many villagers were distraught, but Kishore faced the devastation with a calm heart. He helped his neighbors rebuild and replant, sharing the wisdom he had gained from Buddha. "This storm too will pass," he told them. "We must accept it and move forward, for this is the nature of life." Kishore's resilience and positive outlook inspired his fellow villagers. They began to see the wisdom in his words and adopted a more accepting attitude towards the uncertainties of life. The village, once plagued by despair during difficult times, found a new sense of community and hope. Years later, as Kishore sat under the same banyan tree where he had first sought Buddha's guidance, he reflected on his journey. He felt a deep sense of gratitude for the lessons he had learned and the peace he had found. The ever-changing seasons of life no longer filled him with fear, for he had embraced the beauty of impermanence and found joy in the present moment. And so, Kishore lived the rest of his days with a serene heart, grateful for each day, each challenge, and each blessing. He had discovered that true peace lies not in the absence of adversity, but in the wisdom to accept and cherish the fleeting moments of life.